What compliment do you still remember being given? In my latest mugshot picture in the description it said Slim. My best friend's mugshot picture is literally the best picture ever taken of him. The only picture you have taken of him. I was 2 weeks into my first job in high school, and it was miserable. The manager's personal life was falling apart, and she was taking it out on us. Most of my coworkers wouldn't give me the time of day, plus I had to deal with everything that came with working fast food, dealing with horrible customers, etc. I was planning on quitting by the end of the week. One day I wore my hair to work a little bit different. I was growing out my bangs at the time, and I left them down instead of pinning them back, and the boy in the kitchen told me it looked pretty. I assumed he was just trying to be nice and thanked him. He went on and said, "No, seriously, I think the clips are super cute and all, but you really look great today." Kept me from quitting that job. That boy and I are talking about marriage now. Close bracket. So wholesome. I frequented a toy store in town when son was small. One day I learned the staff's nickname for me was Jessica Rabbit, which I took as a compliment. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, it was 20 plus years ago. Him holding on to that one, lol. About 4 to 5 years ago a girl in my college class said I had nice pants. I looked at those pants like they were the cure for cancer after that day. Dude. I literally met my wife by saying cool pants in college. That was 5 years ago. I had to reread your comment a few times just to make sure it wasn't somehow related to me. His username checks out. I was playing a song I made up for the piano when I was like 10, and my new teacher walks in and asks where the sheet music is for it. I felt so proud. Wolfgang Amadeus. I was at a track meet for my brother and some girl was walking up the bleachers and she dropped $20 and I proceeded to grab it, walk up to where she and her mom were sitting. I said, "Hey, you dropped your money," and she said thank you, but as I was walking back down her mom said to her, "You need to get a boyfriend like that. You're a good, wholesome person, you / Death Bigashamba." I read that as r/Death Bigashamba and was like, whoa, telling him he's wholesome, so he has to be killed. Took me a couple of rereads to see that that was actually his username. A group of drunk girls in a bar gave me a hug because I smelled yummy and wanted to smell yummy too. Drunk girls give the best compliments and insults. I was in the drive-thru of McDonald's and the young lady working the window said I had beautiful eyes. This was 10 years ago and I'm still riding that one. A female ex-coworker of mine said, "My eyes are beautiful, lol." Was very flattered. Today a guy at work told my coworker I'm quite a cool dude and that they should take care of me. Personally, I always like the "he's good people" comment when a friend or coworker is introducing me. Just feels to me like that encompasses everything. But mostly that I'm not a snitch and bend the rules here and there to lol. When I was in high school I was put in a special math class for students that weren't so good in the subject. We learned the same things, but the class just went at a slower pace. I took English and history classes, but math and science were essentially foreign concepts to me, I guess, so I kind of needed it. In 10th grade the math teacher my special math class was assigned to was Mr. Smith, not real name. Mr. Smith was the football coach and just had a reputation for being this very stoic and stern individual who many students were afraid of. No matter how much of a rebel you were, no one ducked around in a Mr. Smith class. One day towards the end of the year, Mr. Smith told me to stay behind for a moment when I was leaving his class. After everyone left he told me that he just wanted to let me know that he saw how much I was improving and that he was proud of me. I left that class and almost cried. What he said was so simple, but coming from him it meant so much. He never gave out compliments and always seemed like more of a tough love type of guy. I always worked hard for my grads, and at that time I really needed what he said to me. I hope part of the lesson learned along the way was that math is about being careful and making sure you don't have any gaps in your understanding. The main problem people have with it is going too fast and skipping a building block. Until college level, everything builds on itself. So if your understanding of step N is poor, you'll have trouble with step N+1. Most people aren't naturally bad at math. They're usually just tripping up over something. Cannot appreciate this comment enough. In 6th grade my math teacher got sick and was out most of the school year. A gym teacher took over. She taught us fractions backwards, meaning 3/4 is smaller than 1/2 and shit like that. To this day I have problems with everything. Learning fractions incorrectly leads to understanding decimals poorly, which leads to understanding percentages poorly, and so on. When I was struggling with the concepts and tried to get help, I was brushed off. My mom tried to help, but she was operating on such a high level of math, mechanical engineer, that she couldn't assist me very well, because those steps just made sense to her at that point and she couldn't break it down as far as I needed her to. God bless my trig teacher in high school. Somehow she figured out a way to teach it to me that made sense. Spent a lot of time with her after school, but it was worth it. Currently I'm trying to teach myself medical math, and thankfully have a lot of people and resources in my job that are able to support me well. I've gotten really good at estimating math in other parts of my life, but obviously medication requires precision. I'm not sure I'll ever forgive her / the school system for letting that happen. A drunk woman at a bar was walking past me and stopped and said, "In case anyone hasn't told you, you look really good tonight," and then kept on walking. That was 3 to 4 years ago. Still makes me feel good when I think about it. There are 3 types of people who tell the truth: children, angry people, and drunk people. Heaven help you if you run into a drunk angry child. Although angry people are also prone to telling lies to hurt you / benefit them. Walking up to the stage at my graduation, I encountered a guy whose job was to stand there and say, "Congratulations, Doctor." Over a decade later, I still feel warm and fuzzy thinking about that, even though I have no idea who that was. A guy on my committee said it first, right after my defense, but I was too shell-shocked to process it then. I had the same experience. After my defense I was greeted with "Doctor," but in that moment I was just like I didn't fail, that it totally didn't stick. I got an email a few days later addressed to me as "Doctor, I about collapsed, haha. Best moment ever. Congrats on your doctorate no matter when you got it." Same here. It's been 3 months since I defended and it only hits me when I open the email's addressed drive. Street. Patrick's Day. Late. Far from any parade or anything, but am walking down the street by myself. A young man stumbles up, asks me if I'm gay. I say no, and the look on his face was like I just told him his parents died in a car crash and his dog was driving. He asked for a hug after calling me beautiful, and I happily obliged, correctly stating that it was the nicest thing anyone had ever or would ever say to me, plus I thought it was sweet that he asked for a hug. Edit. Think I should clarify cause I've covered this was years ago. This is ducking adorable. When I was about 15, very depressed and with body dysmorphia, my mum and I visited the perfume floor of Harrods. I was there in a hoodie with unwashed hair and too anxious to speak to any of the staff. When we got to one of the perfume shops and sat down, the very gentlemanly salesman told me I had a beautiful smile. After talking a little with my mum and giving her a few testers, he gave me a tester he said I might like, and he'd written the name of the perfume on the card. It was called Love, Don't Be Shy. Always sticks in my head as being one of the loveliest interactions I've ever had, even though it obviously didn't mean anything. No, it did mean something. It was a person who recognized that you could use some kindness and knew you deserved it. You guys are constantly restoring my faith in humanity. In my early 20s I went to a local coffee shop with some coworkers. Without warning, a very attractive young lady came up to me, said hi, shoved a piece of paper into my hand, and then walked out the door. The piece of paper had her name and phone number on it. Only one word was spoken, but it wasn't slightly overwhelming acknowledgement. Did you text her? Are you married? Please lie and say yes. I'm married. My anniversary was yesterday, but not to her. Someone said I had a great personality when I felt like the most boring person in the planet. Made me feel so much more confident. I spent weeks alone during lockdown, and when I finally ventured out I got chatting to a woman. She said, "Wow, you are a really interesting person. I'm glad I met you." That was so nice to hear. A super cute guy working in a food truck took my order and said to the cook, "1 burger and fries for this beautiful girl right here." Then when he gave me my food he said, "Here you go, darling," with a wink. Big swoon. Even if he was being nice, it really made an impression on my very insecure 24-year self lol. I once went into a pizza place to pick up my order and the guy behind the counter said, "This is free for you. Beautiful. Just take it." I smiled big, said thank you, and awkwardly just turned and left. He called out, "Have a good night." I think I responded in kind, got back in the car with my sisters, and told them that dude gave me the pizza for free because he thinks I'm pretty. One sister high-fived me and took her share of the pizza money back. The other one asked if I know him or had gone in there before. Nope. Never saw him again either. He probably got fired because he was giving pizza away for free. I'm 52 and petite. I know it's average, but I've always felt small. In college, an acquaintance and I stood up after class. She looked at me and said, "I always forget how short you are. Unincorporated. You have such a big presence. Whenever I feel small, I think of this and stand taller." This one was funny when read with your username in the quote. Made it seem like she was referring to the fact that you are not a business lol. It just asks for the pickup line. Are you a sole proprietor or in a partnership? At the conclusion of a church funeral service, the widow stopped by to see me at the organ console before proceeding to the cemetery. She said, with both smiles and tears, "I want to thank you for your uplifting music. It made my husband's funeral a celebration of his life rather than a sorrowful occasion." Apostrophe. That is one wholesome compliment. He played the Astronomia song. When I was chilling at a festival, some dude came up to me out of nowhere like, "Hey, listen, I hope I'm not being weird or something, but I saw you and had to come over and tell you I dig your style. You really nailed this look. It's really unique. I just thought you should know." And then he just left and I never saw him again. Love those good festival vibes. MDM amazing. Everyone is so lovely. After I had gone into the gynecologist because I had some worries about my IUD being out of place, it wasn't. Thank God. My doctor took a look at my x-ray/ultrasound and exclaimed, "You have such a beautiful uterus." I've never received such a strangely uplifting compliment and I'll never forget it. LMAO. I had a smear test and the practice nurse said my cervix was like a little rosebud. WTF had it. I think this may be my most upvoted comment ever. I'll take the opportunity to say, go get your cervical smear test. Ladies, it's a bit awkward, even without receiving compliments on your cervix, but takes 30 seconds and can save your life. So poetic. In 7th grade, I wore my favorite shirt to school and someone said, "Cool shirt." Felt so good. I wore that shirt at least once a week for the next couple of months. Then someone said, "Why do you always wear that shirt?" Felt so bad. I only wore it to school again when all my other shirts were dirty. One time I went to the doctor wearing an olive green colored shirt. The doctor told me it was such a great color on me. For the next year I bought so many things in olive green thinking I'd finally found my color. Went back to the doctor a year or so later wearing a shirt that was not olive green and the first thing my doctor says is that they love my shirt. It's such a great color on me. Turns out she probably just gives that compliment to everyone, and I took it to heart. Alternative explanation. Every color looks great on you because you're sexy AF. I was a teenager at the zoo. Asked the ticket taker how much the ticket was. He said, "Free for you cause you're so cute." I couldn't make sense of what he said through the speaker, so I asked him to repeat it, and when he did I couldn't possibly believe that's true. So I laughed and said, "No really, how much is it?" My friends and I paid and were on our way. I'm dumb. Got yourself out of a free ticket. I was expecting him to say 8, now it's double the price. Just yesterday, my stepkid said to me, "Dad has changed so much since he met you." He's a much nicer person now. NGL. Totally teared up. Woohoo, you improved their lives. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.